Hi, I'm here to explain the rules for sparring at our in-house tournament. There'll be a brief explanation at the in-house tournament itself, but I wanted to go a little bit more in detail for those of you guys who really like to know the details. So first off, the basic idea of sparring is that you're going to try and get your hand or foot so that you could hit your partner in a legal target area without actually hitting them. So we run non-contact events. So what that means is that if I were to touch Sarah even just a little bit with, I can't get a point for that, and I can even get warnings if I touch her a lot. So I'll explain about exactly what kind of touching allowed and isn't allowed in just a second. But first let's talk about legal target areas. So if Sarah put her arms out like this, you can see legal target areas in sparring is to get her hand or foot towards the front of the body. Anywhere on the face or the helmet is allowed. So what's not allowed in the head is just that back of the neck part that's covered, not covered by the helmet. The back isn't legal target areas, and below the belt isn't legal target areas. So I can touch those places, but I can even aim punches towards them, but I can't score towards them. So the most common mistake you'll see with that is that this roundhouse kick can score towards the front of the body or the front of the head, but this one doesn't stand a chance of scoring because there's nothing back there I can score at unless I bring it up to the head. So that's legal target areas. Let's talk about the other aspects of scoring, which are proximity, opposition, and direction. So if Sarah has a slightly low guard here, right now my punch is heading towards her. If I were to extend my arm, I could hit her, but I don't. I pull it back. That looks like a punch heading towards her face, could hit her. That's a good point. Okay. But if I were to throw that punch a little bit lower right now, or her guard a little bit higher, right now I'm at roughly the same distance I was at before, but we have what's called opposition. So is my punch going to get blocked or not? We don't know because between my punch and her body, there's still guard, right? So no point yet. The point will come after I've passed the guard and she had a chance to block it if she doesn't block it. So that's opposition. The other thing that is determined is not just getting my hand close enough, but is my hand actually coming towards them? Is it gonna hit them? So that's a great hook punch. It's probably about as close as the other punch that may have scored if it was coming straight, but it's going that way. It's not gonna hit her. Without us extending, or we know that's not gonna hit her, it's going the wrong direction. Same thing with a kick. This kick may be close enough to score, but it's going that way, not that way, and she's that way. Whereas that kick is going that way towards her, that can score. Direction matters, opposition matters, and proximity matters. What's close enough? For our competitors under green belt, it's a cubit, fist to elbow, so about like that. And for our kids, maybe a little bit less. And for our competitors green and above, it's a hand span, so about that long. So for the kids, it's a little bit smaller because their arms are smaller. For the adults, it's a little bit longer, but that's the rough idea. Let's talk about allowable and disallowable contact as well. So once we've determined that something was gonna hit Sarah or our partner, but doesn't, that's good. If it does, no point's gonna be issued, but under what circumstances are a warning given? So if I just barely touch, it's like, oh shoot, pull your punch. If you pulled it back an inch earlier, you would have gotten a point. Good job, almost. Okay. If the partner hits you with enough that I can impart some momentum, something that probably could have hurt or would have hurt or did hurt maybe, we're often going to issue a warning. And it's just a safety mechanism to make sure that nobody's getting hurt in the ring. If it seems excessive, it's like wham, and it was just outright really not just a poor judgment, but really truly dangerous. We can actually disqualify a competitor right there for that, jump right to that third warning. So what are the consequences for warnings? First warning, just a warning typically, hey, careful, you touch them, and remember this is a non-contact event. 2 warnings is loss of point. If you don't have a point to lose, we'll award a point to your partner. And the third warning means your partner wins the match. And so that's the way warnings work. In terms of safety gear and additional safety, you're required to have gloves and a helmet. You should bring your own. If you don't, we have a limited supply available at the ring for you to borrow. But it's always nice to have your own gear that other people aren't wearing. We also recommend a bunch of others, standardly advised safety gear, whether that be mouth guard or groin protection, shin protection. Those are all really good ideas, and we recommend them if you want to acquire those. So let us know if you need any of that stuff, because we can recommend the right stuff for our school. There's a large variety of equipment available. If one of the competitors leaves the ring for any reason, we'll stop the match. If a point is scored before the partner leaves before the match is stopped, that point can still count. Okay, let's talk about one other thing, which is how difficult it is to judge this event. So, look, here's what I can promise. The judges are going to be trying to make the best calls they can about the points they see, but they're not going to see every point. Let me really make it clear why they can't see every point. So I'm going to just count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and Sarah, I want you to just punch out punches as fast as you can. I'm just going to count out her right hands while I'm counting aloud. Ready? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Good. So in those roughly 3 seconds, I think her right hand hit my hand 5 times. So she was alternating, so that's 10 punches in those 3 seconds. If I was also throwing 10 punches in those 3 seconds, that's 20 punches in 3 seconds, or roughly 7 punches a second. That's crazy hard to identify all the things we just talked about, whether something's a scoring point or not, just within a second. Human judgment is not going to do that accurately every single time. So I promise you, we're going to make mistakes. So the idea of the competition isn't just to score points. It's to score the points the judges see. So like, this sneaky little punch might be great, but it's not as like the score is, what's up? Because everybody's going to see that big dropping hammer to the top of the head, whereas that sneaky little one, reverse hammer to the ribs or whatever, may not be seen. So remember, it's a game, and like all games, there's a better way to play. And scoring the points the judges see is the better way to play. Lastly, for our black belt competitors, the rules about contact are slightly different. I'm just going to go back, talk about legal contact in all divisions and how it changes at black belt. So, I said it's a non-contact event, and by that I mean you're not supposed to make contact when you're scoring, but there is lots of opportunities for you to make contact that you'll never score on, but might be valuable. So for example, if I'm punching at Sarah and Sarah blocks it, boom, go block it, boom, hey, I made contact, her arms got hit, but no warning is going to be given. It was perfectly legitimate contact. She blocked it. She should be doing that. I should be doing that. I wasn't trying to hurt her arms. I was aiming for a legal target area in a reasonable way. Or maybe I choose to reach out and touch her, not to score, but to set up a point. So like I might slap her arm out of the way to score my hook punch there. I didn't hit her on the hook punch, but I did slap that arm out of the way. That's allowed. That's an allowable contact. There's certain kinds of other contact that aren't allowed. So I'm allowed to push an arm out of the way. I'm even allowed to hook, and that's 2 sides, as a hook constitutes a hook. But I'm not allowed to grab, that's 3 or 4 sides. So that's actually hooking or shoving and grabbing. So I can't grab fabric, anything that allows me to close my hand or be on 3 sides is not allowed. Neither is eye gouging or biting or headbutting. So all that is not allowable contact. But there's times when people's arms and legs are going to touch each other. It's almost always allowable. At black belt, it's slightly different. First off, light contact is allowed and even encouraged, and you can still score without light contact as long as you can demonstrate that you could have hit with force. So whereas in our white belt divisions, I could have touched her okay, and might have made a little bit of a punch. That's going to score. That would not cut the mustard for a black belt division. In a black belt division, we wanted something that looks like, that could have hurt them. That would have landed with significant impact. So there's just a quality discretion there, and most of the time in the black belt division, we actually want you to go ahead and touch them. Not full contact, but light contact, and demonstrate that you could hit them. There's one other aspect that I didn't explain earlier about doing this, which is related to this. I'm in the right direction, I'm close enough, but I can't reach her yet because my arm is already at full extension. Okay, so I didn't explain this before, sorry about that, would have been a better place, but extension matters too. So right now there's no opposition, I'm heading the right direction, but I can't reach her. So I'm out of range. Range matters. So range, opposition, proximity, all those things matter. All right, thanks.